Welcome. Thanks everybody for joining. Thanks for this month's episode of Hitfar's Latest Hits. My special guest is Gord Austin, who we have here. And as per always, I just want to say, once again, welcome to Hitfar's Latest Hits. But the way that these work is please ask questions and keep this interactive as much as possible. You'll see that we have the chat box on the side of the YouTube Live. And I believe I'm pointing the right direction. Let's find out here, just over there. Fill those out. It works best because all of you are here. The more questions you ask, the more interactive it is, the better it is an experience for all of us. So with that, I'd like to say welcome again, Gord. Welcome again, Gord. And thanks for jumping on. How are you doing today?
Good, Peter. I mean, Patrick. Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah.
Just had a few questions. I don't know why I said George. That's just crazy. With SureCall, we want to talk about SureCall this year. Tell us a little bit about SureCall. When was it founded? What's the story behind it, brand positioning, things like that?
All right. Well, Patrick, SureCall began around 2002. In fact, most of the booster vendors began in that 2002, 2003 timeframe.
Okay.
Back then, the carriers were force migrating customers from what was first generation analog, high power G1 phones to this second generation G2 digital. And what we had were customers that went from that 3-watt car phone and they could drive to locations and make calls. And now all of a sudden they couldn't. If they made a call, they sounded like Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
The problem was low power and other technology issues at the time, and boosters were the solution. So all of a sudden, consumer booster industry was born. So that's the background for SureCall and many of the other booster vendors.
Great. Okay. And actually, I apologize, as I forgot to reiterate to everybody, the reason why we're having this conversation is we're talking about the success of boosters have had since pandemic started in 2020. And of course, we're discussing what are those factors. We're going to look into that, and we're going to look into how we see 2021 trending out. Thanks, Janice and Mark, for joining us so far in the chat. I see that. Back to you, Gord. Tell us a bit about yourself. What's your background?
I began in the cider industry, very fortunately, from that perspective. If you think of it, Patrick, cider is just like a black hole. It has grabbed all of the energy from the surrounding industries.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's grown like a rocket. So, but I mean, two-way radio, it took from there. It took from long distance. It took from PBX. It took from digital phones or digital cameras, personal digital assistants, music players. Everything is in this device. Almost, it's like you can't be separated from it. So being part of cider has been a great career. Last 13 years has been cider boosters, and 98% of my focus has been Canada.
Are you an engineer by trade?
I am. Well,
yeah? Okay.
I graduated with engineering, but then I really I can't say I've been a practicing engineer, but that was the education. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. All right. Now going back to the main point I mentioned earlier, 2020 saw this huge increase in cellular boosters. Mm-hmm. Signal sales went up by 200+%.
Yeah, that's correct.
What do you think were the main factors that contributed to this?
Well, if you think back prior to 2000, let's go to 17 or 18. This time of year, I'd be selling boosters to grandma and grandpa, because they want to entice the grandchildren up to the cottage.
Yeah,
and those grandkids could never be separated from social media.
Facebook back then, right?
Yeah, that was back then. It was still today too. Yeah. But the other thing that changed is a lot of the customers I would talk to in 17, 18, and 19. They said, when I go away to the cottage, I want to get away from work. I want to turn off. I really don't want my cellular phone to work.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard that, maybe not 50% of the time, but enough.
My dad still says that.
Yeah. But life has changed.
That's
I mean, work from home has changed everything, Patrick.
Yeah.
So now being able to connect voice and data means I can be anywhere. I can work anywhere I want. So that has changed a lot. And that was that mandated work from home happened in 2020.
Okay.
So that's the big deal.
So that 2020 showed that with that you said work from home mandate.
Yep.
Would you say the biggest increase then is in consumer boosters versus B2B?
Yes.
Is what's happening because of that? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So far, we don't. 2021 is yet to be written fully,
yes.
But for the first half of 2021, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's very interesting that boosters were really held for years from the B2B segment, and then we have this spike in 2020. This hasn't fallen. This is actually still going strong, but now we have consumer spike in 2020 and 2021. That's also bringing up that awareness, as you and I've talked about before.
Right.
The biggest trouble with cell boosters, especially in the consumer side, is people just didn't know they existed.
And I think that benefit, Patrick, helps us today, but helps us even more so tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because we have been so closely aligned from work from home and work remote that the awareness of boosters is up, and that has spin-off benefits for years to come.
Yeah.
People now know what a booster does and how they can use it.
Yeah. So this is a great opportunity for anybody that's out there, whether you're our sales reps or even just a customer who's wanting to learn. This is a great time to get them. This is the best time. So you'd mentioned 2021. You said you see some of that trend in booster sales. What do you expect to see out of 2021 as a total? No, what we've seen Q1, Q2. What do you foresee? A guess, maybe?
Well, I mean, if you think of 2020 and 2021, they're very different. I mean, the first half of 2020, we were deer in the headlights.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know what to expect. Oil went down. People were rather nervous.
Yeah.
And many of our dealers were closed. Or if they were open, the traffic was very low. So it was not a normal situation for the first half of 20. So I can say that the first half of 21 is substantially up over 20, and 20 was a good year. It's not the same. It's not the same dynamic. What we know now is we're tired of this pandemic and the reduced restrictions, but we're dealing with it, and our confidence level is up, and we've grabbed hold of work from home.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. Now, if I think forward into the balance of the year, you flip a coin on this one, but we're hoping. A lot of people are, I think, that work from home is now at least part of our new normal, that it's a societal change where we can, work from home 2 days, 3 days a week. It doesn't matter from a booster perspective. If I can cut out Wednesday night and go to the cottage and work, well, I need to have communications up there. I need to have a booster. It doesn't need to be 5 days a week to take advantage of that. The other side of this is we see the reduced social distancing, which is wonderful for maybe some of our commercial jobs.
Yeah.
As they've been on hold. So we see that opening up. And I think the other side is there's going to be an appetite for stuff, just all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And stuff requires raw materials. Well, Canada is a country of raw materials. Now, some of the finest Canadian resources are going to be found on patio bars and beaches, I think. But the material goods, that was a joke, by the way, Patrick. The material goods that Canada provides, like, for example, our minerals, our hydrocarbons, and our woods, we need boosters to get it, process it, and bring it to market. So that side of the resource business, we think, is going to be strong as well, stronger than ever in the back half of this year.
Okay.
So lift up on commercial. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so that'll really boost the commercial side of things. And then I think the key point you talked about is work from home is becoming a lot more of a ongoing realism sort of thing. And whether it's, like you said, whether you're working from home up at your cottage or trailer, or whether you're working from home in your house, and you now have that office basement, basement office that maybe needs a bit of a better signal, or a second floor office that needs a better signal. It's great for that, whether it's your cottage or trailer, or whether it's in your house kind of thing. That booster is kind of a big deal. Yeah, good point. All right. Yeah. I know working from home is becoming more of a thing. I actually have quite a few friends and family who their companies have closed offices and have already stated work from home is going to be, particularly people who work in call centers and offices, piece like that. And these are big corporations, right? This isn't mom and pop shops. These are big corporations that said, okay, why am I spending hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars in property management every month or quarter when we've already got people working from home and it's working? So I think you're right. I think it's going to be taken that way. Yeah. Talking about 2021, we're halfway through the year as well. The consumer self-install, that's where the most of the growth has been so far. Where do you see the greatest growth opportunities are in that?
Well, of course, we talked about work from home. You have to have a reason for it, but I think the major source of new activities are going to be friends and coworkers of existing SureCall customers.
Okay.
You're getting service, down the bay. I want to get service here, or in the trailer park, or your phone is working. I dropped the call, you didn't. What's the secret?
Why is that? Yeah. How come when I come to your house, I can get phone calls? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, that's, I think that is a big source of growth which is just part of that awareness.
Yeah.
That keeps us going. Yeah. So.
Last summer, I talked about vehicle boosters and the self-home install or cottage boosters on the show. I'm really intrigued about the RV booster. It's kind of a hybrid of both, right? What can you tell me about it, and what are the benefits of an RV booster versus a vehicle mobile and an in-home self-install one?
Well, you get all the benefits of vehicle, and I would say half of the benefits of a fixed.
Okay.
So that's a lot of flexibility. So in our RV kits,
we've got a couple images on here. Oh, you've got yours.
Okay, there we go. So we have the Fusion to Go vehicle booster, the full kit, and then we put in a second antenna, outside and inside, and thicker cable, and a DC power supply. So you get everything in the vehicle plus. So what do you use that for? Well, RV, and those RV sales are up like a rocket. It's used for marine.
Okay.
Freshwater marine. It's used for people who are in ATCO trailers. They want to have small coverage in a trailer, and and it's used as a transportable application. Go from your car to your cottage. The downside is this is like lower gain. So your coverage area if you're using as a transportable is going to be finite. It's going to be 500 square feet. But if you want to use your phone as a hotspot, perfect. Okay. Or if that's at your desk and that's all you need, then you have it, and you have it in a very flexible package.
All right. Okay. So somebody I'm finding myself, trailers are now becoming the mid-tier person's cottage, right? People can't afford cottages anymore, so now they're having trailers or everything. So you put this in your vehicle, you can use it as the booster while you're driving to the trailer. Ryan's showing a great picture here of how it looks in a vehicle booster right now. You drive to the trailer, you get to the trailer, you take it out of the vehicle, you plug it into the trailer as well, and you've got like your square foot area there that you can get and then work from home. Maybe it's a 3-day weekend or a 4-day weekend, but 2 or 3 of those days you're actually still working. So that's pretty cool.
Sales on RV 2 years ago were nominal. Last year, significant. This year, more than significant.
Really? Okay.
That one category has grown quite a bit.
Excellent. All right. So overall, getting away from just the RV one that we're talking about, who are the 4 most common customers for a booster? Right.
Right now, I mean, it has to be work from home, Patrick. Let's just talk. So, but the seasonally, we've got the chalet, lake cabin, cottage customer. Yeah. That's the seasonal norm right now, and it's alive and well as well. Yeah. Mobile professionals, they'll self-identify themselves. If a customer's driving on the DVP, Don Valley Parkway in Toronto, they're not going to be coming to you for a booster. Yeah. If they're dropping calls, they'll know it, and they'll say, hey, between this city and that city, and they'll come for a vehicle booster. So mobile professionals. And then commercial is really anybody with a metal building.
Okay.
That kills it. Basements. If it's for social reasons, for example, you want to make use of a church basement, or lots of times commercial means the caretaker needs to have safety. There's a feeling like, he's going down the basement and checking gauges and doing this.
Checking the boiler room. Yeah. Okay.
So that garages, a lot of folks are wanting coverage in the garage for EV charging stations, or just public, or just safety down there. Warehouses, those are the general applications. We hope that some of our traditional applications, which is small offices and retail, come back, because they're also good places for boosters.
And then job site trailers. That's another thing I know that there's always been a big thing that we talk about too. Any kind of company does that. So.
Yep.
All right. There was something I was going to mention, or you had mentioned, Trigger, but I can't remember what it is now. But anyhow, for everybody who's watching, please, you know what? As I said earlier, throw in some questions. If you have a question or need more details or information, let us know. Oh, I know. Remember what it was? You were talking about mobile professionals. Being a mobile professional myself, covering the province of Ontario, Highway 115 to Peterborough. You need a booster. There's a complete dead zone on the Highway 115 up to Peterborough. So just so you guys know, if you're coming from the 401 and heading north, or vice versa, there's a big dead spot there. So, and it used to drive me crazy. And I also thought if I ever got a flat tire or anything there, I couldn't call my customers and say, "Hey, I'm going to be late," because I'm just stuck in a valley. So yeah, that's the sort of thing where a booster would come in. Anyhow, so you mentioned retail. Mm-hmm. We've got some of our retail sales reps are on the line here watching. When they're speaking to that retail customer, somebody comes in, what are 3 or 4 indicators that customer might say that help me trigger, hey, maybe I should qualify for a booster?
Oh, easy. Your retail customer is going to walk in the store and he's going to use, or she is going to use, words like drop call, goes directly to voicemail, poor audio quality, slow data speeds. Those are words that we use to describe a poor link between the cell phone and the network. So those words are trigger that says customers have got a link problem. We probably can fix that with a booster. You need to qualify.
Yeah.
Does the customer's location have signal outside?
Okay.
We kit with the biggest antennas, the thickest cable. We work further than other brands because we designed to do that. But you need to be able to at least send and receive a text message.
Okay.
If you can do that, so that's the next thing. Can you make the call? If it's a self-install, is the customer handy? Do they know someone that's handy? Are they comfortable working on the roof?
Okay.
So those are the qualifications that I would think of, and then of course price qualification. I don't see that much these days because communications is so important that $500, $800 isn't seeming to be an issue if it enables communications. But they need to be willing to spend for the solution. So those would be the main things as a retail rep I would listen to and discuss.
Yeah, and I think a great objection handling, like you said, if somebody hems and haws a bit about that $500 or $800, you have to remember this is not $500, every year or anything. This is an ongoing. Once you purchase this, it's going to last you for 5, 10, who knows how long. So the value is definitely there. So we got a great question here from Janice. Janice is asking, can you clarify the difference between a directional antenna and an omni antenna, and what are the applications?
Oh, okay. So happens.
Oh, wow. So that's a Yagi directional antenna. Correct?
This is a directional antenna. So the pointy end gets pointed towards the tower.
Cell phone tower.
Yep. The cell phone tower. The benefit is you get increased performance. It's energy. What we're trying to do is capture as much energy from the site or tower as we can and deliver it back. This directional antenna focuses its hearing in towards the end of the tower, and it's a more effective communicator in one direction. Mm-hmm. So as far as energy management, we want to focus that antenna at that one tower. That's the benefit of a Yagi, and the benefit of that transmits to more coverage, faster data. Why would you use an Omni? Omni antenna goes in all directions on the outside. You use that because it's simple.
Okay.
Don't have to aim it.
Yeah.
Sometimes an Omni antenna is used because you want to balance between Bell and Rogers.
Okay.
But you can do that with the Yagi as well, but it's an easier solution. And very, very, very occasionally, it's because you're in a hole and the Omni radiates up a little better.
Oh.
So, I mean, there was an example that we were working on in Vancouver where customer was in a hole. It was actually the valley. It was actually towards the shore. But when you went from the shore, which was Pacific Ocean, up, there was a big hill, and they had no coverage down on the ground. The Omni antenna radiated up and captured the signal. So, by and large, we use directional. We've kitted with directional antennas for the last 6 years, but Omnis do have a place. It's just a small place.
Yeah. And a vehicle would be an Omni, right?
Oh, yes.
The vehicle would be an Omni one because you never know where your tower is going to be because you're constantly driving. So it's an Omni antenna that goes in all directions versus a building that uses the directional Yagi and points at. The cool thing, I'm glad, thanks, Janice, for bringing up this great question as well. Mm-hmm. SureCall has a tower tool. So reach out to your Hitfar account manager like myself or Sasha and Glenn or Spencer and Lee across the country. If you have anything, we actually have access to a tool that if you give us the address, and if we don't have it, we can reach out to Gord and get some work as well. If you have the address, we can actually tell you where the towers are to be able to point that. Is it north? Is it northeast? Is it southwest? That sort of thing, for the different carriers across the country. So it helps you point that, and therefore you're directing better. So, great question, Janice.
I should clarify, customer that brought to my attention a fixed location. For example, a work trailer.
Yeah.
Yagi antenna, and the answer was no. They move the work trailers too often.
Okay.
They don't want to have to do that.
Yeah.
So an Omni antenna was a solution.
Yeah. Doesn't want to have to look at the address every time they move the trailer to a new job site. That makes a good sense. Yeah. Good point. All right. Thanks, Janice. I hope that helped answer your question. Let us know if that covered everything or if you have more to go on. Perfect. Going back to my situation of that retail situation, what should I ask as the salesperson or even just as the consumer that I can be confident that a booster is the right thing that I need? I know you mentioned, I guess, to talk about, can I make a call? But yeah, because you'll get some people that think the booster is the right thing. You don't want to go out and spend $500 and turn out it's not going to be the right solution. So what can I ask myself or ask my customer that I know a booster is the right thing?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think you should ask them as a professional, a sales professional in communications. Have you exhausted the calling over Wi-Fi option?
Okay.
Because that can work. It doesn't always work. Sometimes it doesn't work well, but if it works, it's free.
Okay.
And so I think as a sales professional, you should ask the customer, can you make voice over Wi-Fi? Do you know how to turn it on your phone? Does it work well enough? And if it doesn't, well, then I'm not sure you have a lot of choices. You're into changing carrier or a booster.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. And then going back, like you said, as long as they have enough signal outside the building, they should have that.
Correct.
Yeah. So we have had that before. You have that customer who's like, hey, I'm going up to the middle of Algonquin and I want a cell phone booster. It's like, that's not going to work. It's just there's no signal there. So
yeah, the key, Patrick, and you nailed it, is to know when to run.
Yeah.
As a retail rep, because sometimes customers' expectations are a little bit unreasonable.
Yeah.
Can't make a call at the house. Can't make a call outside the house or the cabin, but about a quarter mile up the road. Now, there still might be a booster solution in their future, but it's not a retail solution. Yep. You're going to get a professional installer. They're going to come in with all the toys, and they may be recommending a tower. Now, this will set back the customer thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So again, it's knowing when to say it's not a retail over-the-counter solution. And if the customer can make a text on the roof with the leaves and the trees, we have a solution for them.
Yeah.
If they can't, there's a lot of risk associated with this. We might still work, but it's really risky.
Yeah. Now, at the same point, you brought up a good point. It makes me think. Also, remember, people, when you are selling this, don't sell to your budget. You'd be amazed how many people out there. I actually had a customer just a few months ago, and this house was massive. And for him to run a cable underground and build a tower for tens of thousands of dollars, yeah, no problem. That was just a drop in the bucket to him. It was like chump change. So just because it cost a fortune to us, to somebody else, they're just like, yep, no problem. That's a down payment on my monthly Lamborghini, right? Kind of thing. So don't always sell to yourself. Let's go.
That's a good comment.
Yeah. This actually happened, as I said, a few months ago. This guy was like, yep, I'll just have a tower built. I was like, okay. Awesome.
Yep.
Last question we got. What are the benefits of a SureCall booster or going with SureCall product over your competition? Why should somebody choose SureCall?
SureCall's owned by an engineer, and we make tough, reliable, durable products. So at the product level, it's good. It's good and solid. That would be, and it'll be good and solid for years. At the partnership level, we've been a predictable partner for 7 years. So what we did, 4 years ago, we did 3 years ago, we're going to do next year and the year after. So we're predictable in that way and consistent. So you know who you're working with. When you represent our brand in your store, you know what to expect. And one of the things you expect is that you're going to not be embarrassed. My major competitor with a brand W, their biggest customer is Amazon. By far, we don't sell to Amazon in Canada, so that when our dealer sells the product, the prices are predictable. They're not going to be embarrassed. That's a big deal for us. It's a big deal for our customers. So that would be one. Another one for the why SureCall. We make good urban boosters, but if you were to say what do we do best is rural. For the last 5 years, we've been focusing myopically on rural. Our antennas are longer, our cables are thicker, our boosters have more uplink power, our boosters have performance optimized for the low bands. The low bands are what reach the customer at the edge of the network. So if the customer's low band or edge of network, then that's another reason for SureCall. Okay. I could talk about one more just because I know it was probably more than you want, but the technology. So SureCall is 2 generations of technology ahead in the US right now. So, talking about something called millimeter wave and MIMO and TDD. And when it comes to Canada, SureCall will be ready. So as a quiet technology leader, we have that available for Canada when it's proper. So
nice. Okay. So the key points I've kind of taken out from what you said. One, you're owned and still directed by an engineer, so they know the product inside and out. This isn't a marketing guy or a sales guy who's focused on numbers. I mean, he has those skills obviously as well because he's built his business, but he's an engineer, so he knows his product in and out, kind of thing that way. The quality of the product is in there, and I think that's also reiterated by your warranty, right? We didn't mention that, but all SureCall products, it's a 2-year warranty minimum, correct? 3-year warranty. Sorry, 3-year warranty on everything. We should know that. 3-year warranty, so that's great out of the box. And then, like you said, you know what you're getting. You're not competing against Amazon. You're getting good quality and things that way. So perfect. I'm sure I'm missing 1 or 2 points. So please, everybody, you can always come watch the video. But the reason why I'm doing that is because we got another question here from a TCCS. I'm not sure if it's TC or if it's CS is the short form for me to call them. But how will the installation of a signal booster work if a customer decides to purchase it? So I believe they're talking about a TC. Just let us know in the chat. Are you talking about a self-install kind of consumer kit? I believe is what we're referring. Or let's start with there, Gord. Let's go
Okay.
with how does that work, right? So Ryan's got the image up, or at least I saw the image of the self-install Fusion.
Good.
How does that work?
That's a great place to start. So you're looking for a signal for the carrier. So you want to get a bell signal. So you're going to mount this on the roof, aiming at the bell tower. Now, if the bell tower is to the north, you want this on the north end of the roof, aiming north, away. So that's a basic principle, always away. This Fusion Professional kit, this is the booster, has an inside panel antenna. So if this is aiming north, you want the panel antenna aiming the other way. So the two things you need to worry about when a customer is doing an installation is conservation of energy. So getting as much of that signal as you can. So there's got to be some energy to work with. Yeah. And then we have low loss cables, so that's looked after, and then delivering it inside the building. The other part is isolation. Just make sure that the two antennas have as much vertical separation as possible. There's advanced installation guide that we have, and if your customer is a rural customer, you can push that to them in advance. It's rigorous. It's probably more than they need, but it was co-written by 20 of the best installers in Canada. It's bulletproof. If the customer follows these guidelines, they will have success. So as far as installation, go through the process. Here's the email. Follow that, sir. It will work.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. And once again, you can reach out to your Hitfar account manager, like myself, if you guys need that questionnaire. So we can definitely do that. But really, and I've gone through this last summer. I did it as well. I wanted to go through the whole experience. Like you said, take the antenna up, point it towards where the tower is.
Right.
Have somebody on the inside where the booster is. So you don't have it installed yet. Have somebody on the inside. They take a look at their phone. Hey, with it turned off, I've got 2 bars. Okay, I'm pointing it here. Boom, look at that. Now I'm up to 4 bars.
Right.
Okay. Well, maybe I aim it up 45 degrees at this point. Right. Did that make it 5 bars, make it stronger, or did it drop it down? Oh, it dropped it down? Okay, so I'm going to go back to making it, even on this point, and that's where I'm going to now tighten down the antenna. And what you have.
If you're going to go to that level of detail, let me add one other thing.
Yeah.
If you're aiming one way and the customer's got 4 bars, the inside helper has 4 bars.
Yes.
And they go this way and they get 4 bars.
Yeah.
Do a data speed test.
Oh, okay.
Which one gives you the fastest data? Because ultimately, people, they want voice, but they really want fast data.
Yeah.
So, where's the best bars? But then if it's the same in 2 different directions, do the data speed test.
And the reason why we're saying 2 different directions, because often a place has 2 towers nearby, right? Kind of thing. And sometimes one tower is within 9 kilometers and the second tower might be 11 or 13 kilometers, but the second one might be a better tower, even though it's a little bit further away. Kind of, less interference from topography, trees, any number of factors. So, right.
Also, you talk about that level of detail. Occasionally, people are in a small town. Population like 50 in the wintertime. In the summertime, it's just hundreds, right? And so the capacity on the local tower gets tapped out. So even though you get bars on your phone, data speeds are terrible because the backhaul from that tower is finite. So what you would then do is look for that further tower. Might not give you as many bars, but it's got capacity. So that's the flexibility of a Yagi is to do that. Okay. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. I hope that helped answer your question there, TC. And BJ has, he's saying he's been a SureCall dealer for years.
Thank you.
It's a world-class product, and Gord is a world-class guy. Well, he must be making that part up. I don't know about you.
That BJ is actually my mother, so, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Is that what it is? Your mom's in disguise? Yeah. BJ asks if we can speak about the SureCall Tower tool, the lock cell tool. It says it helps a lot when assisting clients with an install. So I kind of talked a little bit about it with the address. Anything?
Okay. Well, there's always something new, and one of the benefits of that is it's software. So we can make changes. You can make changes in software far easier than you can hardware. Information comes from Industry Canada. So the the Industry Canada collects the information under a mandate called Safety Code 6, which is telling Canadians, you knew about this? Because most Safety Code 6 telling Canadians how much irradiation they're getting.
Oh, okay.
So it's a health code. But then we use that information and remap it, and then we know that the direction and the information. So the carriers report, we collect, map it. There are things you can do. For example, with this, you can see what new frequencies have been published. Rogers is rolling out 600 megahertz. Okay. How many have they rolled out? 1,300. Okay, great. Has TELUS rolled it out yet? No. Okay, so you can do it that way. You can look at what's new. So, for example, if you're a dealer in a local area, you want to see if new towers have been put in, just put new, filter for new. And you can do that. You sold a booster last year, and the customer said, it doesn't work. I just went to my cottage, and it's not working so well this year. Well, you can go to the tower tool and change the date. So from today's date, you can go back, let's say last year, and see whether Bell or Rogers or TELUS have changed their towers, because they change the towers all the time.
That's good to know. I had that question happen yesterday, so I didn't know I could do that. So I'll have to check.
Because then it might just be a situation where they just retune the towers, and so now you need to aim your antenna a different way.
Oh, I'll have to look into that. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Well, if anybody has any more questions, we're out of time here. We don't want to go too much longer, but I want to thank everyone for jumping on. Please, if you still have questions to put in the chat, go ahead and we'll get back to try to answer those right away, or just put them in the YouTube comments anytime if you're watching this in the future. We will definitely get back to any questions that show up. I'd like you to please thank you once again, Gord, for joining. Thanks for sharing your knowledge and expertise. This was a great learning experience for me, and I hope it's a learning experience for our viewers as well. Please remember to like and subscribe down below. That way you'll get the nice notifications. Click on the bell. That way you'll find out about Hitfar's latest products and future episodes of Hitfar's latest hits. Thanks again, Gord. Thanks to my technical director, Ryan McLeod, in the background. You guys don't see all the stuff he's doing. And that's it. Yeah. I'm Patrick with Hitfar, your partner in success. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
Thanks, Patrick.